Kevin here from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you how I built a really simple and low budget cable railing for the back of our house. So check this out. This turned out really nice. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do to prep for the cable rails is to actually drill holes in my post to accept the hardware. Now the really fancy expensive hardware I've seen, you actually just drill all the way through and then it has like the sleeve that fits through there and a really fancy stainless nut and all that kind of stuff. They were really expensive. Some of them were up to about $35 per line. And I'm going to be putting 7 lines in this so you can imagine how expensive that's going to get. But what I'm going to do is actually use some really basic stainless hardware you can pick up just about any hardware store. So on the end post here, the 2 on the end, I need to drill holes every 4 inches, just deep enough to fit these screw eye hooks. Now these are a 1/4 inch diameter and it's I think 3 1/4 inches long. So I need to basically drill in deep enough to fit that. And then on the center post I actually need to just drill a hole all the way through, because my cable's going to attach there, just fit right through this one, and then attach here with a turnbuckle to help keep it tight. So what I've done is built a really simple little template. So I just cut a piece of plywood that's the same width as my post here, and then as you can see I just put the end where it's mounted right on top of my little bracket that I installed, and then I clamped it on just using some real simple clamps, and then I measured. You can see I found the center, I drew a line, and then I measured every 4 inches and I drilled a hole. Alright, so then all I have to do is clamp it onto my post again, and then take my drill and just drill enough to get some starter holes going. Then I can take it off and I will go through the middle post here, and I'm actually going to use a bigger drill bit. For the end ones I'm using a drill bit just a little bit smaller than that 1/4 inch diameter screw eye hook, but for the center post I want my cable to go through no problems, no snags, so I'm going to use a 1/4 inch drill bit that can go all the way through. So I'll do all that next. Alright, so the end post has the small holes drilled for the screw eye hooks, and then the center one here I used the bigger 1/4 inch drill bit, and then cleaned it up with that countersink bit just to get rid of all the little pieces that chipped off. So now what I need to do is I don't want to keep it the green wood anymore. I want it to match the rest of the wood that we have around the house, so it's a lot darker. So what I'm going to do is use my little jar of homemade wood stain I made about a week ago, so it's been sitting for a while. And see how much darker it's going to get. It's going to be pretty cool. And it's actually a pretty close match for the rest of that wood that we have around the house. So I'll go ahead and stain it, let it dry, and then I'll probably go ahead and add a like decking clear coat as well. I just think it'll be easier to do it now before I have all the screws in and wires and all that in the way, so I'll do that next. Alright, and check it out, that stain and clear coat turned out really awesome. So now it's time to actually start putting in the hardware for the cables. Alright, so here's all the hardware I'm using to keep this project low budget. It's kind of the secret sauce here. Alright, so I showed these to you before, but these are the screw eye lag bolts. They are, if I can get it to focus here, 1/4 inch by 3 3/4 inch long, and they're stainless. All the hardware here is stainless and aluminum. So that don't rust on me. So anyway, I'm going to sink these into the outer post so they are basically buried all the way in, so hold nice and strong. So I got one for each end. Alright, then on one end I'm going to hook to one of the screw eye lag bolts this turnbuckle. It's also stainless. So the outer part's stainless, inner part that you tighten with a wrench is aluminum. Let me show you the size here. It is a 1/4 inch by 7 1/2 inch long, so it should be nice and strong. Like I said, it'll hook to one of them like that. And then in between here is where I'm going to have my cable. Alright, now when you loop the cable around, you got to be able to tighten it and secure it somehow, so that's what these are right here. These are cable ferrules. Now I'm using 1/8" cable ferrules. They're aluminum. You get 15 per box. I bought 3 boxes, but I think I actually only need 2. They just look like that. So basically you loop your cable through there, bring it out a couple inches, and then you crimp it down nice and tight. So that's what this is. It's a cable ferrule crimper. I didn't have one, and I wasn't sure if this is something you could rent or not, so I just went ahead and bought one. I think it was like $18 or something like that. So it worked pretty well. So anyway, I got all this at Menards. I got it with 11% rebate to keep it cheaper, but I'm sure you could find it at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, you know, whatever you got in town. You could even probably just order stuff online if you wanted. Okay, now I was gonna get my cable at Menards, but when I started doing some research, I found it a lot cheaper on eBay. This guy had an amazing price. I don't quite remember his name, his username on there. When I figured it out, I'll put it down in the video description. I think it was Wilson Products or something like this. But I contacted the guy, and he had amazing prices, and he was really knowledgeable and helped me figure out exactly what I needed. This is what he recommended I get. He recommended the 1/8" thick 1x19 cable. Now if you look at it, the cable, it's one cable, but it's 19 strands kind of twisted together, so it's really nice and strong. It's, you know, not super flexible either. It's pretty nice and sturdy. Okay, then he also recommended not to just get any cable, but to get stainless cable, and since it's going to be outside, to get the higher quality stainless cable. It's the marine grade, which is this T316. Okay, so that was pretty cool because I was about to order something else, but then when I contacted him, he definitely recommended to go with this instead. Okay, now I got a 250-foot roll, which was the smallest roll he had listed at the time. He also had 500 foot, 750, 1,000, 1,500. I mean, basically any size you want. I think he could even custom cut. So if you only needed like 100 or 150, I think he could probably do it. But anyway, he had an awesome price. When I priced this out at Menards, even after I bought everything with an 11% rebate, the cable, 250-foot roll of cable, was going to be $145. And on eBay through this guy, it was $115 with free shipping, so I went for it. Okay, now I did tell him that I was going for kind of the old school clunkier look, a little more industrial, turnbuckles and all that. And he really likes the more architectural style, so he sells those parts too. And it was a lot cheaper than the kits that I looked up at like Lowe's and Menards and all that. So if you want the fancier, more hidden hardware looks, he can actually do that for you too. So anyway, I thought I'd kind of give him a little shout out because he had a great price on this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take it outside and install it. Shouldn't be too difficult. Basically just drive in the lag bolts onto the post. I'm gonna tighten the cable with my little ferrule, crimp it, and then attach this side, bring my cable through, tighten it. I'll probably hold it really tight with a pair of pliers, and then crimp it, and then you know, actually tighten it up by using a turnbuckle. So I'll do that next. Alright, so I'm getting a little further along here, and you may have noticed a while ago that when I was cutting the cable I was having a lot of issues with it. I've been trying everything I had in my arsenal and nothing was working. So first thing I tried was just regular like angle wire cutters, and man, I mean, these didn't work at all. So then I got out some cheap sheet metal shears, aircraft shears, whatever you want to call them, and they didn't work either. Alright, so then I got out some heavy duty lineman pliers that have a little cutter there, and I couldn't get these to cut either. I even tried the crimper. I mean, this thing is basically a bolt cutter, but it's just not sharp enough. It just squashed it, so it didn't work either. The only thing I was kind of having luck with was these aircraft shears here, but you can see how much I was struggling. I was like using both hands at one point to try to cut them, and it cut my first cable okay. The second one I kind of messed up, but by the third one, I mean, look how it just blew out right there. And I can't really twist this one back because it's all bent. So I said, forget this, I'm gonna go buy something that's actually gonna work. So I just took a quick trip to Menards and I ended up finding a cable cutter pliers here. And you can kind of see they have like a curved cutting head there. And I didn't know if they'd work. I mean, they're pretty small handheld, but they're actually working pretty good. So check this out. Alright, so here's that frayed cable again. It's all blown out. And I'll show you when I try cutting it with the shears here. I mean, it just squashed it flat. It was going sideways like this. I mean, that's just no good. So these little pliers here, pretty cool. Pretty small, but basically I'm gonna cut that extra right off. So just squeeze and whoop, let me grab that cable real quick and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I grabbed the cable after it flew out of my hands there, but check out that cut. That's a pretty clean cut for a pair of pliers. And what's awesome is that it's gonna fit through the ferrule again, and I can get going. So that made the job a lot faster, and it's a pretty clean cut. So if you're gonna do a cable railing like this, go ahead and buy one of these little, what are they, a steel cable cutter plier. And I'm sure they're not gonna last forever. I only paid $9 or $10 for them, but for a job like this, I think they're gonna work just fine. So there's your little tip. I had to learn the hard way, but hopefully it'll help you out when you do this. So I'll go ahead and finish putting the rest of the cables up, and then I will show you what this thing looks like when it's all finished. Alright, and there it is, all finished. Turned out really nice. Just real clean and simple. It looks so much better than how it did when we bought the house. I'll throw in a before and after picture here so you can get an idea of what a dramatic difference this made. Alright, so check that out. From that really cheesy metal railing with vinyl lattice just zip tied to it, to this, it looks a lot better now, and definitely helped raise the value of the house a little bit. Alright, so the actual build is really simple. It's just 4x4s, or 2x4s on top. And I know it is just a straight 12-footer and a lot of decks. If you're going to be doing this, it's probably going to have some turns and things like that. So I recommend getting on Google, doing an image search for cable railings, and get an idea of what other people are doing. One thing I think, if you're going to do a turn, the easiest solution is to use a slightly shorter screw eye hook so it doesn't go all the way through, and then just put one here on this side. So instead of trying to drill holes and work around, I mean, if you're trying to do cable around a corner, it's just not going to work. So just end it here, start a new turnbuckle and all that on this side, and just run it this way. Now if you got a slight angle, I have seen where people will basically run the cable straight through here, then add another post here, so basically the corner of the posts are touching, and then they just run it at like a 45 and then run this way, or do their angle or whatever. So just do an image search and you'll get an idea what people are doing. This should give you an idea of just kind of roughly how it works. And by using the screw eye hooks and the turnbuckles and the eBay cable and all that, it was a lot more affordable than the kits that you can get pre-made. And like I said, the guy, if you want the fancier look, that guy does sell parts that are a little less expensive than you can find at the store as well. But I really like the cool industrial look that we got. Okay, a couple things I forgot to mention when we were doing it. I want to point out on this top rail here, if you notice the end grain, it curves this way. I figure if it dries out, it's going to want to kind of cup on me or bow on me a little bit. So that way rainwater will roll off of it instead of collecting in it and getting into the screw heads and trying to rot it out. Also, when I was tightening the turnbuckles, in the video I was holding it with a pair of pliers and then using a wrench, and that worked pretty well, but I found it was faster to use a pair of pliers over here and another pair of pliers here. You could just do it a lot faster. Also, it's a lot quicker to have two people. When my wife come out to help me, we knocked out the other half of this side and that full side over there in about 20 to 25 minutes. It was a lot faster. I had her pull on the cable to keep it nice and tight, and then I was able to add on the ferrules, and it did have a little bit of slack to it, but by tightening this up, it only sucked in about maybe a 1/4 inch on each side, and man, I mean, these got really nice and tight. And then of course those pliers I had, those cable cutting pliers, man, that really sped it up. And that's the way to go. Go ahead and spend the money on a little cheap pair of them. It should work for your project. But anyway, it turned out pretty awesome. The only thing I'm not super crazy about, and I've already pointed it out, is the anchors I had to use. I kind of wish it was just a bolt head sunk down. I don't like how they stick up, but I tried to make them disappear by adding a little bit of semi-gloss Rust-Oleum paint on them, just to help them make, you know, kind of disappear. But anyway, it turned out really cool. Another suggestion I might have for you, if it's kind of just an aesthetic thing, but I mean, it is a 2x4 up here with another one turned sideways, so it's kind of chunky and top heavy. So another cool idea would be to run another 2x4 just down here, just to kind of bounce it out, and then you could run less cables if you wanted. That might be kind of cool, but I just wanted to try it this way and just see what it looks like, and I really like how it turned out. And like I said, it's a lot more affordable than the pre-made kits you can buy.